speedrun of Rama by Crow. Crow, the stage is yours.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am Crow, and I'm excited today to get to bring to you Rama. Now, Rama here is a point-and-click adventure game by Sierra. No big surprises there, given our current marathon. This is very much so a Myst-style adventure game. So you're going to see weird contraptions we have to figure out, logic puzzles we have to solve, and some math systems we will have to figure out. And specifically, this game is set in the science fiction universe as written in the Rama series of novels, starting with Rendezvous with Rama by Arthur C. Clarke, and eventually Gentry Lee came in and helped with some of the later novels. This game here is going to very roughly follow the plot of the second book in the series. We are going to be boarding an alien spacecraft which is called Rama and just trying to figure out what's going on there. We're part of a team of 12 astronauts, and as far as the plot goes, that's all you really need to know for now. I'll try to explain a few of the things that are going on, but since the escape key will skip 100% of most cutscenes, you're not going to get a lot of the plot on screen. I'll have to try to explain it as we run on through. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the game and enjoy some pre-rendered 3D environments. Go ahead and count me down if you like.
You got it. Let's go in 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, first thing I do is skip a couple of cutscenes. I'm supposed to have met Nicole Desjardins, and then I also saw a video greeting that was left on the computer by Richard Wakefield. Each of these astronauts has a different number associated with them. I go to my locker and I pick up the wrist comp, which is essentially a smartphone. I'm actually going to give the developers of this game some mad props for actually very closely guessing what direction technology was going to go there. And now I'm going to raid this locker and pick up Puck. Puck is this friendly little robot dude. Most adventure games have a look command. Puck is essentially our look command. He is a robot that can do little analytical things. You'll occasionally hear him talking in the background. In this case, I actually managed to skip a normally unskippable audio clip by having a phone call that came in from Miss Sabatini interrupt the audio-only portion, which is the portion that ordinarily cannot be skipped. So at this point, I need to hunt down this meeting. It's a meeting in person now with astronaut number 9, Richard Wakefield again. He's got this lens he's showing me. Whenever I meet in that random encounter, quote-unquote random encounter, there's a bunch of places you can go which give you something random that you can see, and then there's the preset positions. But seeing Richard Wakefield there makes the game assume that I've already seen Nicole's second meeting with us, which allows us to skip straight to the third, at which point we pick up one of these tiles. I also got some lenses off of the ground and also from a locker that I looted. The locker was stuffed with a bunch of alien artifacts that one of the other astronauts was basically planning on sending home and selling, so we don't feel too bad about taking those. I'm now heading back to this region, which we call the warehouse. By loading all those lenses into the laser cannon and letting it fire at any random place it wanted to, it happened to strike that transparent cube, which contained a tile in it. We've been collecting all sorts of tiles. You can see a bunch of them in the inventory below here. And I'm counting force field blasts. After 9, we're allowed to walk through. There we go. I'm going to turn off the force field because we will be coming back here later. There's a little bit of backtracking I'm going to do in order to enable myself to do a glitch. So essentially, each of these tiles has a possible solution to a number of logic puzzles that are locking these doors to these buildings. This building here is codenamed London. and we're now going to explore it. And one of the tiles we just used is... Whoa. Oh, right, put that in the wrong spot. One of the tiles we just used was from Miss Sabatini's locker. She wanted us to get a cigarette lighter from her locker. Instead, we took the tile. Honestly, I don't feel bad about that. So I'm going to pick up some stuff that's lying on the ground. I skipped a quick little scene there, which showed a mantis biot using a red light in order to access that area. So I just used my handy dandy multi-tool and set it to flashlight mode and use that in front of a random piece of red crystal in order to shine red light. Go ahead and do that once more here in order to go to the top of... this is essentially Rama's recycling center. A bunch of tiles in particular are found up in the goop. They're not dissolving very fast, but there is a bunch of goop there. This is one of the puzzles I don't have the solution to yet, so I'm going to just skip past it. So the first two puzzles were preset. I knew what they were going to be going in. The rest of the puzzles are in a cycle of 4 options, and at present I have arrived here with the solutions to 2 of the 4 puzzles that can show up here. And the way the ordering of the cycle works, if I fail one puzzle, I will have the solution to the next. All I have to do is try the wrong answer twice, and it will let me advance to the next one in the series. So I'm now using a green laser to tell a crane biot to pick up a spider biot off the ground so I can get past it, and I activated a monitor, and now I'm going to try to do a glitch here. This little earthquake thing indicates that Rama is changing its trajectory right now, and I think I'm running late. We'll see if I can do this, but I am... Oh, not if I fumble like that. Okay, oh well. Nope. So, the conversations that I just skipped from the phone calls that came in were regarding the fact that the Rama spacecraft is corrected its course. It's now on an impact course with Earth, which is making the Earthlings a little nervous. What I was trying to do here was make a beeline for this cutscene here, this little video animation, which unfortunately cannot be skipped with the escape key. But if a phone call came in while this scene was happening, I could have immediately left because I would have unlocked my ability to move. So unfortunately, I did not pull that off. The timing is really tight, and I just fumbled a little bit while I was trying to move. So unfortunately, didn't get to show off that glitch this time, but you get the idea. Anyway, I'm returning to base camp. Another one of the astronauts found this filtration unit lying around. I'm going to return back to London. I didn't have time before because I was trying to do that one glitch in order to take care of plugging that box into there to get one more tile. And now there's one more thing I need to do out here. I'm going to return to this area we call the warehouse in order to pick up this gate. The reason we released the spider biots and dealt with that really slow animation was not because we want the spider biots, but instead because we want the gate that was previously holding the spider biots in. Also, I almost forgot to actually use the filtration unit I found in the refrigerator. There's an interesting system going on in this game, which will make the game feel like it has random components if you play it multiple times. But what's actually happening is that as you explore Rama, anything that you miss the first time you're in an area has a possibility to be picked up by one of the other astronauts or by one of the crab biots for kind of the garbage men of Rama, and it'll make some progress either towards being dropped off in the base camp and you pick it up there, or getting dropped off at one of the garbage buyouts, and then finally in London itself, and then you can pick it up from the goop there. So at this point, I'm going into another building. This one is codenamed Bangkok. There are a lot of decoy tiles around. So even though these puzzles may look pretty straightforward, a lot of that is because I have only picked up those tiles that I actually need. So at this point, I just need to do the circular puzzles. There are only certain specific details of the puzzles that are presented I'm paying attention to because I have such a small number of tiles. There aren't that many things I have to analyze in order to determine which of the pieces I have will actually fit there. So at this point, I'm doing what may not be the most compelling puzzle ever, taken on its own. But the idea here is that Bangkok is a museum to all three of the alien cultures that have boarded Rama. Well, alien to Rama. And the first one we're taking a look at is humans. So literally all we have to do for this first machine is to punch in the number that is shown on the left. A not very compelling puzzle. The second machine of the set has us count, and the last one has us do basic addition and subtraction. At this point, I'm just going to blast straight past the human museum proper, because I think I know a thing or two about humans already. Solve this next puzzle here. That'll let me use the elevator to go down to the avian floor. The avians and the mermaid cats have this weird... it's actually a 3-species thing. I forget the name of the last species of the set. They're kind of blob things. The mermaid cats are like these giant crickets, and then the avians are the only ones we're going to actually meet. I meant to do the left puzzle first. Doesn't actually matter. So I'm going to take a look at the numbers to be counted on the left. And we now have an alien math system here. The symbols go from 0 to 15. This is a base 16 math. I believe that's 7 there. And essentially base 16 math just means 1 0 is 16. Everything else follows from there. So that's 2 4. Each complete row is 11 items across, and I'm counting the number of objects by only counting the bottom. The reason this works, is that only certain puzzle setups have been predetermined. These are not being generated on the fly. Instead, I can look at my table of all the possible puzzles that could be presented, and I've already done the conversion into base 16, so that speeds things up compared to if I were to actually do the math live on stream, which, if you've ever been on any speedrun marathon ever, you've probably encountered the fact that trying to do math on the fly is a bad idea. Anyway, let's go ahead and do this one now. This is the one I meant to do first. The order doesn't really matter here. I needed to get this item from the counting area, and I need to open the next door, which is what doing the Simon Says puzzle, which is what I call this just punch in the number that you see thing. Doing this opens the door so I can then get to the Octospider region, and I have to do the counting puzzle there. It also unlocks the museum itself. There is one item I can get from there, but I'll get it on my way out of Bangkok rather than on my way into the next section. My ability to click through all of these buttons quickly is helped a lot by the fact that I, as a kid, just for fun, I did a bunch of my math homework for quite some time in, I think it was 8th grade. Writing the numbers in this base 16 thing. It was months before the teacher even noticed, which maybe doesn't speak well to that situation, but it was good fun while it lasted. Anyway, so thanks to that, I've actually am pretty familiar with associating the number with the thing that it looks like. So a big reason, let's see, that's 63, so that's violet. We're now on base 8 math, and the gimmick here is that there are no symbols, there are just colors, but essentially these are just digits from 0 through 7, and then 10 is 8. Everything else follows from that. It means 100 would be 64. That's 66 here, so that's red, white, orange. Again, only certain numbers can show up, so I'm just looking at my quick table and I'm counting either how many rows if there are no items on the bottom row, or counting the number of items in the bottom row, and that's good enough for me to look up on my table what I need to be punching in. At this point, I'm going to take a quick look, and I'm going to see the wire cutters as designed by the avian / Mermacat culture. I'm going to grab that and run out here because I need to use those wire cutters in order to befriend an avian. So we're going to walk over to this broken biot, and then an avian gets caught in it. I skipped the cutscene where that happened. Use the wire cutters to depower the broken biot, and then use a crowbar to pry it open, and now we're best friends forever. Pick up the neck ring that is the symbol of our eternal friendship. One more trip into this wheel thing. And the reason we needed this gate from releasing the spider biots was just so we could use it as a ladder. Mind you, there are a lot of ladders in base camp. We could easily have just brought one here, but that's the only object that our adventure game playing main character allows himself to use in that capacity. At this point, some of the astronauts have gone AWOL at the New York building, which is an island in the middle of the Cylindrical Sea. The Cylindrical Sea is currently iced over, and now it's time to head over there, which involves switching to Disk 2. I'm ejecting my mounted image of Disk 1, and then mounting the image of Disk 2 in order to continue. This game came on 3 CDs. The third CD is not actually used for the game. It is instead used for interviews, if you want to see a bunch of interviews about Arthur C. Clarke and Gentry Lee, who had a significant hand in setting up everything for this game. So that's pretty neat if you want to try taking a look at that at some point. Now I'm taking this object I found from the wheel just a little bit ago, and I'm using that control panel to open up all of the doors in New York. New York's hallways are dirty, for one thing. They've got all these tuning forks. That's the only tuning fork I actually require. Once again, the game has a lot of decoy items. I'm also going to pick up some of these colorful gems that are on the ground. These will help me get around and do things in the Octospider region. If you haven't noticed yet, the Octospiders are very color-based. And I kind of wish that the control tile that I used was required to be moved around from area to area, but that one setting actually does open all of the doors, so there's no need to like carry it around and stuff. So I'm now in the Octospider Plaza. Each of these plazas has a living quarters for the race in question. I need to visit all of the plazas before I'm allowed to enter the avian living quarters, and I need to check the back of this, 20th. Okay, good to know. So that information is going to be needed in order to disarm a nuclear bomb that is going to be set in a little while. We saw one of those bombs a little while ago. One of them is here in New York. Disarming any one of them, they're networked, so they'll all turn off once that happens. So I'm going to return this flashlight to shining white light, and I shine that through a prism in order to hack that display there. The way all these locks in the Octospider regions work is you're supposed to show them light of a certain pair of colors in order to get through. I'm going to now use the prism in order to shine lights on all of those areas, and now I'm going to do a quick little light addition for color puzzle here. The sliders produce red, green, and blue light respectively, and we need to do some basic color addition in order to lock in the colors shown on the top. This flashing is supposed to be like instantaneous, but in the Windows 95 version, which is the one that I am playing, the animation is very slow. I still prefer the Windows 95 version because it generally works. The DOS version I find crashes whenever I try to play the game very quickly, which is, you know, what I'm doing here. So at this point I have dealt with... that's not where I meant to go. Once again. The game is really picky about moving forward. If you click in the wrong spot of the screen, you could move forward in a different direction than the direction you thought you were moving forward, and that's what got me tripped up there. Okay. So there would be a little bit of time to be saved by playing the DOS version instead, but unfortunately, I can't handle having more than 75% of my runs crash, which is just what happens. Particularly once the bomb is set, that seems to be the most unstable part of the game. So, I'm now using this tuning fork. Yeah, this is the only tuning fork that works for moving this ramp. There's a ramp behind me. Unfortunately, I cannot skip the audio effect of the ramp moving, and essentially the ramp starts in the worst possible place. It's right next to the spot where I want it to be, moving the opposite direction. Once I move it 6 times, it's finally looped back to where I want it to be, in front of the only open door. In that room, there is this piston. I'm going to use this piston to destroy an alien totem, because I want to climb it in order to get to this chair, because once again, my main character refuses to use any item but this one item to reach a little bit higher than he otherwise could. Mind you, I've got a crowbar right here. So you would think that I'd be able to use the crowbar in order to poke this not all that complicated turning mechanism and get it to open the door, but nope, I have to stand on that chair, which I need to destroy some alien property in order to reach, because adventure games. And this is the other part of ludicrous, moon logic that this game has. Overall, this game's pretty good about not falling to that level, but it does happen. And I'm actually going to save here. I have safety saves in case the game crashes at any point, but this room is particularly prone to that. I will be going through it a little slowly in order to reduce the odds of a crash, but it can still happen. So, first, I am offered a mana melon from this avian. The mana melons are actually the eggs of the myrmicats. There are no live myrmicats right now, which leads me to think that maybe they should be hatching the eggs, but I don't really understand the culture. Maybe that's not the way to go. When you eat one of those melons, you can temporarily see ultraviolet light. So I'm letting these animations play out a little bit. In particular, I want the music here to stop before I turn here, and then I want the fanfare to play before I start leaving. That seems to be the best way to make sure the game doesn't crash on that section. So I made friends with the leaders of the avians by showing that I was polite enough to share food. Now, this one, 1183. What you're supposed to do is find out various important, useful numbers by traveling to different places in the avian living quarters here. And there's the theater here. There's also some numbers you're supposed to get from the ultraviolet ink in the murals. You're supposed to get another mana melon in order to see that. But since those numbers aren't randomized, I can just use the fact that I already know that, and a little derping there. So I grabbed an oil lamp, not so I could generate light, but so I could pour the oil on that gear, which is rusted shut. And I need to go up here first to the area I call the hatchery. I'm not exactly sure what goes on here, but in any case, I need to get to this section here, climb up, because there's a grappling hook I can use in order to go down an elevator that is currently broken. A lot of the stuff here is in poor shape. Some sections are just outright broken. Others are, rusted or whatever. And this elevator isn't working, and here's what was supposed to be the living section for the myrmicats, but there's been some fire here or something. So, okay, need to move forward, grab that caustic water. Use the caustic water on this in order to break off the gunk, lock it into the correct place, use the button, and that will drain this pool that had the caustic water. Now I can grab this pendant, and now I have acquired both of the items that I need in order to get into the other living quarters. So now I can leave the avian section. By the way, this is where the murals are with answers to other puzzles that I happen to already know the answers to, so I didn't need to look at them with a mana melon here. Now back to the hatchery. There's a little section here where, by demonstrating to the game that I do in fact have the 2 pendants that I need in order to progress the game further, I can now get the magnetic card. That magnetic card will get me access to the place where I can now open up the way to get back out of the avian section, because some of the ledges we needed in order to do that were deactivated. So, whoops, that's not what I meant to press. So the little device we got from the avian leaders allows us to squawk out numbers. So you put in the card, and then I believe it's 698 to extend the ledges. Once again, it's from one of the murals. And back down the elevator, and then open sesame, and we're out. Okay, and now we meet Richard Wakefield briefly. He gives us Falstaff, who's a little robot dude that can run around and actually do things, which makes him way better than Puck. And whoops, that's not where I want it to go. The bomb is now set. So the humans have set a nuclear bomb. That's not great. So we're now going to try to disarm the bomb. We need to get some stuff before we can do that. We're going to head to the Octospider region in order to do that. Here we are. And now we're in the Octospider living quarters. There's a lot of stuff you're supposed to be doing here. Let's see, that's orange, violet. However, we're going to be skipping most of it because we have already... we already know from previous playthroughs, or at least I do, the answers to most of the numbers that are used for, let's see, yeah, here we are, for disarming the nuke. There's one place that is randomized, and that is the number that is on the back of Matthew O'Toole's anniversary photo. Essentially, the idea is that Matthew O'Toole, who seems to not be all right, he's nowhere to be found, and his effects are scattered across the Octospider region. So he's the one who set the code for disarming the nukes, and also... oh, that's not what I meant to do. Whoa, that's also not what I meant to do. Where am I? There we go. Okay. Derped off a little bit there, but I think we're in good shape now. So Matthew O'Toole has a particular favorite set of prime numbers. It starts with 41, then you add 2, then 4, then 6, etc. And all those numbers are prime for a huge list of them. And there's particular numbers within that sequence that are... his favorites. I think it was this. Yep, there we go. You can tell if you got the puzzle right or not by seeing if the pegs are displayed as being extended or retracted. You want it to be retracted so that when you approach it, it senses your presence and extends rather than the reverse. So, because we already know which numbers we need for the most part, we can skip most of the Octospider region, which unfortunately means we don't get to see the stuffed human exhibit that the Octospiders put together to indicate that they understand our culture nice and well and clearly have a good level of morality that coincides with our sense of that. And also, we miss out on the Octospider dance party, which is a little more interesting and a little less creepy. So I'll go ahead and switch this back to flashlight mode and shine the blue light here. And let's go ahead and take a seat here. And this is the human section. I could have done this before, but this doesn't take all that much in-game time, so I don't really have to. Whereas with the Octo Spider color generation puzzle, every time you moved any one of those levers, even just one tick, that was 3 minutes of the bomb's explosion timer going off. So yeah, that's not okay. So at this point, I'm basically just proving to whoever it was that created this Human Plaza section that I am a human by showing that I understand what Earth's ecology is like. That extends this bridge so I can now reach this human living quarters. And now I'm going to be disarming the nuke. A little bit of this is random. Essentially, the first and last 4-digit numbers with leading zeros if necessary are locked in and automatic. However, although the identities of the other... Where's my green laser pointer? There it is. The identities of the other numbers are known to me. I don't know the order, and I'll have to figure it out based off of what it's showing here. So I'm now going to disarm the nuke, and I am going to be concentrating a little bit for this. The input is a little wonky, and this sometimes actually crashes, particularly if you try to go too fast. Okay, so in this case, this one will have to be 0047. 0047 and 0853 are always in the set somewhere. And the last number I need is going to be 0421 based off of what we saw on the back of the anniversary photo. And that's a disarmed nuke. Get a phone call on our wrist comp, and then walk out here, and that's time.
Alright, congratulations, my brother. May I say, really excellent
We can't possibly.
Okay, one last thing I'd like to actually show off before we head out. I'm going to skip ahead to the little interview from Arthur C. Clarke that shows up as a quick little epilogue thing, and just listen carefully to how he starts the epilogue. After that, I'll go ahead and switch to the credits. Oh, crap, it skipped it all together. Oh man, I was really looking forward to showing that. Oh well. So he just says, "You were great, I guess, but I can't imagine why it took you so long." So that's kind of a taunt at speedrunners everywhere, and
Most welcome. Let's give it up in chat one more time. Get those GGs out there, your clap emotes, whatever you might have handy for Crow with that wonderful showing of Rama, any percent. And up next, we will be having the Dark Side Detective.